what should be the elements of a vision which is of servant leadership, servant leader?
Demonstrating conceptual skills and
Yeah, that is the
foresight.
behavior. Very good. But what are the key aspects of a great vision?
Foresight.
Foresight and
You need
demonstrating
foresight, you need
skills.
conceptualization.
Correct.
And when you set a vision, should it be internally focused or externally focused? It should matter and should make a difference to others, not to ourselves. Right? It must be externally focused. A servant leader's vision is not self-focused, right, or internally focused. It is externally focused. So that's one thing that we need to remember, right? And yes, we saw about demonstrating conceptual skills. What is demonstrating conceptual skills conceptualization all about? And we saw that demonstrating conceptual skill is driven by two attributes. What are the two attributes?
Foresight.
Conceptualization. Thank you. Yeah. And what does conceptualization convey to you? What are the definitions
Keeping the
of
bigger
conceptualization?
picture in mind, which is coming
Think
ahead.
out of the box.
Dream big.
big
There is
and
something
bold.
that you got to remember. It is about dreaming big. You saw that UST video. When was that video taken?
2015.
What was and that was all about digital
transformation.
Was in 2015 was UST a digital organization?
No.
What was our digital revenue in 2015?
Single
Digit, exactly, right? But at that time, the leaders had the boldness to go ahead and claim to the world that is, we are a digital company, right? And that is the vision that drove us to where we are today. Where today we can claim to be a more or less a pure play digital company. And what's our digital revenue today?
$2.5 billion.
Yeah, that is the total revenue. What
85%.
percentage?
85%
of that is digital.
Yeah.
Right? So that is the growth that we have seen, and that is a result of the vision that they have, bold vision that they have. Right? But bold vision needs to be also balanced with what?
Foresight.
What is foresight about?
Learning from the past and keeping the reality
You saw the Coach Carter movie, right?
Yeah.
What was Coach Carter doing to the people?
making them
Saw
reliant on the
Exactly. Based on the past data, where are they more likely to land up?
In prison.
In prison, right? Unless they do something about what they're doing, and that is how he brings them into the mainstream of academics and not just focused on basketball. So that they are saying that, look, we are winning in basketball, but we are also going to win in life. Right? So the bigger vision is win in life, and while doing that, of course, we will win basketball games. Right? So that was his overall this thing. Right? So that's how both of them this thing. But how do we bring it down to our working level? The vision imperative overall. Which process does help us to implement that? Sure. Goal setting. Goal setting is the process where we will use it, right? And what's our goal setting framework?
Fast. Not
Right? How is fast different from smart?
frequent.
Frequent, yes. Smart is like, you set the goals in January and then you review in December, and when you're starting to review, people are like, who set this goals for me? Remember that feeling? Yeah. So that is what, if you don't review it frequently, it does. What does the A stand for in smart?
Ambitious.
In smart?
Oh.
What does the A stand for?
Achievable, yes.
Right? Now, what's the problem with achievable goals? If you want to set achievable goals,
You will set the bar.
You will set the minimum level.
Now, how many of you have got a smartwatch, right? Which has health app and all that, right? So when I got my son gave it to me, right? So I set my exercise goals at 30 minutes a day. Right? Normally I work out for 1 hour, but I didn't want to overset myself. I was thrilled when after first week, Apple gave me a badge saying, hey, you have overachieved your goal all these 5 days of the week. I was thrilled. But what was I actually doing?
You are not
Underestimating.
I was setting a goal so that I could claim that I have done more than what the goal I have set. Right? So that is the problem with achievable goals. Right? We end up setting goals that are below our optimum. So that's why we say set ambitious goals. So that's a big difference in between the smart goal and the fast goal. And what does the T in fast stand for? What does the T in smart stand for?
Transparent.
Transparent, correct. It is not time bound. Of course, it has to be specific, But what T in FAST stands for is transparent. How do you make that? How do you make our goals transparent in USD?
By making it visible and
You
make
can either make it public,
public.
everyone knows about it, or at least you can choose to make collaborators where at least the relevant people will know about it, right? And what tool do we use? So that's the process, right? And we have given you a checklist to make the FAST goals better, right? You remember that?
Yeah.
Okay. Now that is something that you can use for yourself. That is something that you can use for your teammates.
Teammates.
So the next time when you are having goal setting conversation with your teammate, sit with that toolkit and ask those just about 6-7 questions, right? Those questions will help your team member improve his or her goals. The power of these questions are they're not very great questions per se, but when you ask the questions, it makes the team members think. Did you experience that yesterday when you did that exercise?
Yes.
There's a person by the name Marshall Goldsmith. Have you heard about him? He's one of the topmost leadership coaches in the world. Topmost meaning top billed also. But it's crazy what he does. He says that he pays somebody money to ask him questions. And who wrote those questions? He wrote it. He writes the questions, he hands it over to somebody and asks them and pays them to ask the questions to himself so that he can hold himself accountable. That's the power of questions. So don't ever underestimate the power of those questions. So that toolkit that we have given to you is a very powerful toolkit. Right? So just make sure that you use it in the goal setting process while you set your goals and while you help your team members set your goals. Okay? All right, great.